Welcome to the Boston Barrister, Kevin Patrick Seaver, bringing you insights about your family and the world.
Welcome to another episode of the Boston Barrister. My name is Kevin Patrick Seaver. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm here today with Paolo Rossetti. And the first question we have today is, do I have to lead the Massachusetts Department of Children and Families into my home when they come knocking on my door?
No, you do not have to.
Your home is your castle. You don't have to let anybody in unless they have a court order or a search warrant. However, what's the caveat, Paolo? We talk about it all the time in this office. We just had a client the other day. They come knocking on their door. And it was Jack, and her name was Janice. Jack and Janice. And Jack and Janice were on a conference call, and they had Attorney Seaver. DCF just came on my door, and they're threatening to come back. What can we do? So let's talk about it, Paul. Let's get into it.
Well,
what can they do?
They should look for an experienced DCF attorney to help them through this process.
Who specializes in what? The DCF rules, regulations, policies, protocols, time standards, right?
Yes.
Along with the statute, regulations, and the law, which applies to not only you as a parent, Jack and Janice, but also DCF. There are applicable laws that apply to them. They just can't come pushing through your door unless they feel the children are at imminent risk of harm, and usually they'll show up with a couple police officers with guns and badges and lions and tigers and bears. It's tough stuff. And then they're going to take your kids out. They put the stuff in a trash bag and away your kids go. They don't even need a piece of paper to take your children out of your home. Therefore, I caveat this by saying, do not play with the Department of Children and Families. You're playing with fire. I hear so many parents all the time, I had nothing to hide, Attorney Seaver. How contrary. Because DCF's not looking at your home or your car or your education or anything like that. They're looking at the children. They've got allegations against you, and you're going to sit there and get what I call diarrhea of the mouth. And all you do is talk yourself into a supported decision. So I plead with you to get yourself a specialized lawyer to help you with DCF, with experience and reputation and testimonials that shows that they have done all the learning that it takes to get you to where you need to go, which is to get DCF out of your life once and for all, so that they don't take your children, you don't lose your job, doesn't ruin your reputation, and you're made whole again, so that you don't have DCF in your life, so that you can live with freedom and with happiness. And don't we all richly deserve happiness? And the answer is obvious. So, Paula, what happens if I refuse to allow DCF into my home?
Well, they can label this as uncooperative.
And they will.
They will. It's best, again, to speak to your experienced DCF attorney who knows the rules, regulations, policies, and find a way to still show that you're being cooperative with DCF without letting them violate your constitutional rights.
You've been hanging around me too long. That was good. I like that. Listen to Paolo. She's spot on. And another caveat I want to throw at you is that when DCF comes to your home, you don't have a lawyer, bring your children out onto the porch. Don't let them into your home. And let them see your children that you don't have any marks or bruises on them. But do not let them speak to your children. Now, why is that? Okay, let's break it down. The U.S. Constitution reads, we, the people, not we, the adults. Your children have fundamental, important U.S. constitutional rights. And so you don't want to say anything, because in DCF will say later in the report, he said, she said, they said, we said, or the children said, or the children don't feel safe. Don't let your kids talk. And you tell the social worker that you'd love to meet with them, but your attorney would get very mad. And any lawyer that's worth the salt would. Because then what you want to do is cooperate with them, saying, I'd love to talk to you, but I can't. And my lawyer is not here. And I would like to have my lawyer here. Now, again, most times DCF does not give you that critical, important parents pamphlet. And in that parents pamphlet, on top of page 3 in the top right-hand corner of the parents pamphlet, it says, you as a parent are entitled to counsel, which means a lawyer, at any time. You must implement and execute that so that you are protected. Because DCF, as Paulo said earlier, there's all these policies, procedures, protocols, and time standards, laws and statutes and regulations, lines and tigers and bears that nobody knows because you don't know it because you're a layperson, and that's okay. It's not your fault. But a lawyer should know all of that if they're specialized. They deal with DCF on a daily basis, week basis, monthly basis, yearly basis. An experienced lawyer can help you many times over, can 10x it, so that you get out from underneath this situation without being harmed, your children being removed, your reputation being ruined, losing your job, and all the nonsense that goes on with everything. And sometimes well-intentioned, well-meaning, you're going to say something to DCF that just going to cause you more trouble than you bargained for. The reason you bring your children out on the porch to show, or whatever it is outside the house, is to show DCF that your children are fine, they have no marks or bruises, they're not been physically abused, or any type of harm has come to them. But what you want to do is you want to be cooperative, but only to a certain extent, so they can fulfill their obligation to see the children and understand they've not been harmed or injured. And then you don't want to say anything further, because everything you say can and will be used against you in a court, could be possibly criminal down the road. At this point, you don't know what the allegations are. DCF may tell you, and they say it's sexual abuse or physical abuse or neglect, but is it really? I don't know, you don't know. So again, it might be abuse or neglect, but we don't know what it is. It might be by an anonymous reporter. You have no facts to go on. And the most important thing is to get the facts and evidence, because that'll lead to success. Without the facts and the evidence, you can't win. So DCF comes to your home, knocks on your door, and they blindside you. And they want to talk to you. And some parents get so scared or upset or don't think straight. And they start talking and talking and talking some more. And what they do is they talk themselves right into a supported decision. When they're innocent, I can't begin to tell you how many parents think, oh, I can talk my way out of this. Oh, I'm intelligent. Oh, I got a master's degree, or I got a law degree, I got this, I got that. They talk themselves into more trouble. Don't do that. What happens if I say to DCF, I'm not going to let you in my home? The answer is that the reality, they can go to the court and file a care and protection and have the children removed from your home. If they think there's imminent danger, they can do it right away, bring the police right away. You don't want to play with these people. No way, no how. You want to cooperate with them, but only to a certain extent. Again, bring your children out outside the home, don't let them in your home, and let them see your children don't have marks or bruises. And then you tell them, I'd love to speak to you further, but again, my lawyer will be very mad at me. And so can we set up a mutually convenient time? I'll have my lawyer contact you to speak as soon as possible and get this all confusion cleared up. Now, there's many reasons DCF wants to talk to you. And sometimes, and I don't get this, I honestly don't get this, but they don't want you to have a lawyer, because a lawyer will make DCF do the right thing. A lawyer who specializes in DCF should know all the rules and regulations that govern DCF, including the law, the statute, regulations, so that it protects you, but even more importantly, your children. Again, your children are small, they're not stupid, and they have legal rights. Constitution again reads, we the people, not we the adults. You don't know what the allegations are. You don't know who filed them. You're totally in the dark, and DCF wants to keep you there in some instances. So you want to make sure you protect your children, the baby cubs. And how do you do that? By getting knowledge, getting facts, getting evidence to corroborate your story, disprove this. What is an anonymous report, Paulo? And this is one of the reasons I don't want you speaking to DCF. So why are anonymous reports crucial or important to understand the functioning of all this?
Well, anyone can call in or make what's called a 51A report to DCF that you are abusing or neglecting your child. And with an anonymous report, you don't know who did it, so you don't have any idea what you're dealing with, and you have to be very careful in what you say, because you don't want to accidentally admit to something that you didn't do.
Let me give an example. I had a gentleman that said that he was talking to DCF and he was very nervous and well-intentioned, well-meaning. He was well-educated, But he said something, and he gave DCF like 21 comments, and 20 of them were actually spot on, legit, truthful. The 21st, he made a mistake. He said he had never been in a certain town before. And DCF found someone that said, yeah, he was in that town on the day of the incident, and that he just made an honest mistake. He said, I didn't remember Kevin later. His name was Jackie. And I said, Jackie, why'd you say that? I don't know. I don't remember saying that. So now he's got to go backwards and try to disprove a statement that DCF has written down. And instead of keeping his mouth shut and hiring a lawyer and getting to the bottom of what the true story is before speaking to DCF, so he tells a valid story that's unquestionable, DCF's labeling him as being dishonest, not telling the truth, being a liar. And that's the worst thing, because once you lose credibility with DCF, you're in a world of hurt. So you want to make sure your story lines up, the evidence and facts support and corroborate your story, and you disprove whatever the hell the allegations are. So I've seen anonymous reports many times have things in them that are bogus, baseless, and false. I can't understand why anybody would file such a claim against somebody anonymously, but obviously it's to protect themselves. They don't want the person they're ratting out here to know who they are. And sometimes, it's blatantly obvious who's done it, because there's facts and circumstances only a certain person would know. But sometimes it's not always the case. So you got to be really careful with talking to DCF until you know what the parameters are. What are the allegations? What's been said against me? What are the dates, times, and location? Who was the person that filed this? Were they a mandated reporter, non-mandated reporter, or was it anonymous? Remember, the United States Constitution was the bedrock and foundation of our nation reads, we the people. Don't ever forget that.